All right, so we are now live. Hi, I'm Reagan from Pagan Naturalists, and this is our Planet Pathlings weekly live chat. And with us we have, go ahead, guys.
I'm Spin Pixie, and I'm Monday's host.
I'm Blue Whisper, and I'm Thursday's hostess.
So we got
I don't know if Toy will be joining us today. She might be not busy because of a hurricane, or some sort of spillage over. I guess it's a bad term, but she might be preparing for something big. So I don't know if she'll be in, but we might have another guest joining us tonight, and I cannot speak this evening. I apologize.
Yeah, you know. It's okay. So,
So this week's topic was the beginnings of Samhain, and we had some various topics for this week. We wanted to do as thorough a job as we could in bringing you the origins of the different traditions of Samhain. So we had the origins of trick-or-treating, of mask wearing, of carving pumpkins, and the origins of Samhain itself. And we wanted to just try to bring you all those things. So Monday we started with the origins of trick-or-treating, which was my day. And some of the things that I found were I didn't know. I didn't know. See, my thing is, I found out that they wore masks not only to celebrate and honor their dead, but also to keep away any malevolent fae or any malevolent spirits that might want to come out and play or prank. And apparently, on Samhain, it's a perfect night for pranking. I didn't know it was such a big thing. I thought it was just something that we just did as people, but I didn't know it was that ancient.
I'm having a little bit of difficulty with my camera.
uh-oh. Did we lose you again? We lost you again. Yeah, I was, my topic was the masks and costumes, and it was really cool. I had so much fun researching it because I was like, okay, well, masks and costumes. Okay, well, I'll start at the beginning, and then I started digging back and finding out that it just kept going back further and further and further, and covering so many different things, and in ways that you don't even think of, because not only, and the biggest thing, like historically speaking, is anytime there was any kind of like major natural disaster or anything like that, people would wear masks to ward off the evil spirits that were causing, any kind of like major storms or crop failures, anything, droughts, anything. They would wear masks after the fact to try to chase away the evil spirits so that these things would end. And it was really fascinating. Burial masks, ceremonial masks. They used them as ways to get closer with their spirit animals. And then when you get in closer to the actual uses in Samhain and Halloween, it was to hide from the spirits that were roaming the earth on that night, and it was interesting. And then with modern day Halloween, it was fascinating the way that in America how we've adapted and commercialized it to such an extent. I was having a lot of fun digging around and finding out that information because a lot of it I didn't know. I had never heard of what was it, the Denison Paper Company? They used to sell books that were catalogs that would include tissue paper. They were a paper company, so of course they sold all these things. And they would have patterns and stuff in there, how to make different masks, and even one of the years that they were running, they didn't sell the magazine that year, the catalog, because of the fact that there was a big flu epidemic and a lot of people it was 1918, just to avoid that they didn't have them that year. I was like, wow, to try to keep people from putting on masks and going out running around celebrating Halloween because they didn't want them to share their illness. So it was fascinating.
Well, the same thing about I can hear myself. Now I'm
Oh, did
hearing
you mute
myself.
the other thing?
The what?
Did you mute your playback in the background?
Yeah, I've muted mine. I'm hearing it from someone else's.
Well, I have my headset on. Sorry, I had to step away. Toy said she's actually with family, and so I was just getting that
Okay.
squared. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think it's on your end, Reagan.
I'm muted. Hold on. This is what I was talking about before.
Okay. Yeah, the feedback. Well, anyway, I'll just keep going. As far as warding off evil spirits, they believe that the jack-o'-lantern would ward off evil spirits as well and scare them away. And the story that goes with the jack-o'-lantern was really cool, about Stingy Jack. And Stingy Jack, and it's in the video. I don't want to do a spoiler. If you haven't already watched my video, you'll learn the story about Stingy Jack. And Stingy Jack made a couple of deals with the devil. This is legend. It probably stemmed from Ireland, I believe. The legend of Stingy Jack was that he made these deals with the devil, and because of these deals, the devil promised not to take him to hell when he died, and then of course God didn't like him dealing with the devil to begin with, so he wasn't allowed into heaven. So at his death he was forced to roam between the two worlds, and he was given a piece of ember to put in his jack-o'-lantern, which that's what he did, and that's the light that he carried. Of course, in days of old, the first jack-o'-lanterns were actually carved from turnips, potatoes, rutabagas, anything that was in the area, and it wasn't until the first settlers came into this country that the pumpkins were actually used, and they found that they were much easier to carve, they were hollow on the inside, and they were the perfect thing to make their jack-o'-lanterns with. And then I also found out that the oldest, somewhere between, I believe, 5,000 and 7,500 BC, is the age of the oldest pumpkin seeds that has been found by archaeologists, and that was in Mexico. So they believe that pumpkins originally came from Mexico, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I also tried my hand at carving a turnip, and let me tell you, it's very difficult. I don't know how they did it. It takes a long time because they're solid all the way through, not like a pumpkin that's hollow on the inside. They're completely solid, and that was not an easy task.
I bet not. Yeah, we know exactly how much trouble.
It was a pretty interesting week, and next week we have a lot more Samhain topics to cover. So many, in fact, and we wanted to show you our different takes on so many things that really we would have had to have started 2 months ago to cover all the topics that we came up with. So next week I think we have a pretty big amount of video for you guys because we are talking about every other thing we did not talk about this week. We have communing with ancestors, personal views on ghosts and spirits, and recipes, and just different stuff that we're going to tell you our take on, and it'll be a whole lot of awesome in store for you guys next week too. One of the cooler things that I found out is how many different traditions did these things, like the carving of the pumpkins, the wearing of the masks, how many different types of trick-or-treating there were, not just for candy, but for soul cakes and souling. That was probably one of my favorite things to learn about my topic this week. And I've even been inspired to go looking for some soul cake recipes, and also the music, the old Halloween or Samhain music that they used to, the weird little songs that you hear in school, like The Ghost of John and all these other old Samhain and Halloween songs. And it's really, doing these topics has really inspired me to put more of a creative feel into my home. I want to carve a potato now because I don't have turnips, nor do I want a turnip, but I want to carve a potato because I don't have pumpkins. We're still in the 80s here, and we're supposed to be in the 90s tomorrow, so I want to get a potato and carve a potato because I don't want a pumpkin to rot before Samhain. So I'm going to get a potato and carve a potato.
Are you going to carve it and record it and add it to your video for next week?
I may.
You should. I'd like to see that. Needless to say, my turnip did not. I ate it.
Didn't turn up well?
It didn't turn up well. I cooked it and we ate it. I was mad at it and I'm like, well, that does it. I'm just cooking you now. So I cooked it and I may try again though. I don't know. We'll see. I might try again because I think it would be interesting to, to have one or whatever. Although I think I might go a different route this next time, and if it doesn't work, I'll just eat it.
Yeah, and you can't do it like a pumpkin at all. You have to
No.
you have to chip away at it.
Yeah. Kind of dig a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that I think was touched upon in the videos is the dumb supper and having a dumb supper to honor the ancestors. And I've had dumb suppers and I've been a part of dumb suppers before. I think they're so amazing to be able to take part in because you can really feel the spiritual part of Samhain come through in those, and the reverence for the ancestors that is shown at that particular time and throughout the feasting and the holiday.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever done dumb suppers or been a part of them or thought about hosting one or anything?
I've done them, but it's, my way of doing things like that is a little bit different, non-conventional, different than the usual.
Yeah, I've done it with
being a solitary, you have to be creative, when you're the only one in your house. So you have to be kind of creative with certain things.
Oh yeah. I've done it with a group, and then I've also done it solitary, and yeah, there's a big difference between what you do, when you're doing it by yourself and setting it up alone versus, or just with family versus doing it with a group of 30 or 40 people. So yeah. Oh yeah.
Right now, I know I am one of the viewers on YouTube. Are you two, either of you, got it open too, or is it just me? Or do we actually have a viewer?
I have it open as well. I don't have the control room open. Let me go look and see.
Okay, so it's probably just us then.
Yeah.
I was going to say, maybe we can explain what a dumb supper is exactly for the newcomers. Let me look and see. Yeah, we have two viewers. One is me. The other's probably you. Okay.
Yeah, the other one's me.
Well, typically a dumb supper is a feast that is held in silence, and you basically want to have everything. In the tradition that I practice, you set a place for your ancestors, and then you're supposed to have everything that you need on the table, and the table in and of itself is its own altar, and everything is passed around, and the setting is served, and for the ancestor or ancestors that you would like to honor. It's done in complete silence, and then food is sometimes also set outside for either wandering spirits or for other ancestors. And honestly, I've done dumb suppers with a group and also with alone, by myself as a solitary. And I found that for me, it was a really intimate thing because I had never really had ancestors that I connected so much with until after my grandmother passed. So wanting to do a dumb supper specifically for her, it really made it different versus every time that I've done it with a group. It was very personal and very intimate and very, you could feel energy there, and you could feel her energy there. Things that I knew that she wanted to see on the altar, I found myself putting on the altar. Music that she wanted to hear, or food that she might have wanted to eat, I found myself wanting to make.
Well, I was just kind of curious because I've never had done. Actually, I've only had one of a major feast with other people, and that was during this past May bond. Most of them have always been very solitary for me, alone. And so I wonder, when you're with a group of people, how is that? How hard is it to not say pass the salt or?
Well,
Um,
from what
I'm a
from what I've
talker.
experienced, yeah. Well, the silence is to show the reverence for the dead, to listen to them speak.
Hmm.
Um, so if there's something you happen to need, you get up to your reach, and someone's like, "Oh, you need this," and you just kind of hand it to you. It's kind
yeah,
of
Yeah.
one of those things where it's just an automatic pardon my reach
yeah,
type of thing, because unless you happen to have small children, within the feast, which technically or typically they're left home that night, um, it's done in
yeah.
silence and reverence.
Yeah, the ones that I've attended in group, it was we just we got everything set up. We actually did it as part of Circle, so the Circle was cast and everybody was there, and then we set up and we all sat down and ate with with the serving next to us or across from us, depending on because we were like in the yard, and it's just during that time during our actual eating, everybody was just silent. If you needed something or whatever, you just quietly go and do what you had to do, but yeah, it was just in silence, and it went really well. I mean, we didn't have any problems. It wasn't like we were there for like 3 hours in dead silence or anything. So,
Right.
we just
Well,
took time
how
for the
how
meal.
do they in a group? How do you know when the silence begins and when it ends? Is there like a
Um,
signal that somebody gives? Is there somebody that's responsible for that, for
yeah,
letting everyone know?
generally, if you're doing it with like with my experience in the groups I've done it with, there'll just be like a bell ring at the end to signal the end of it. In the beginning of it, it's just it's basically the same thing, just some kind of a signal from whoever our high priestess was at the time would be like, okay, let's begin, and then we would be quiet from that point until they rang the bell to let us know that it was time, that it was done.
Well, see,
And
I'd be
and
like, oh, I've got so much to say.
I know, right? And the cool thing about it is like the bell is rang, and then you have the choice of getting up and excusing yourself from that area and going and talking with the other people, or if you don't feel like you're done, with that energy and doing that, then you can continue to sit there for however long you need. So yeah, it was kind of a neat thing. It was very different doing it in a group of people, and I was really worried about that. I was worried about, because I'm one of those people when I'm, I mean, I'm always like really high energy and I'm a very hyper person, and yeah, I like the sound of my own voice. So it was a struggle. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. But then when you're actually in it, and you're doing it out of respect and respectfully with other people that are, on the same page, it's not bad at all. You just
I think
sit there
when you're
quietly.
alone, it's much more personal because you don't have anyone that you need to keep your emotions kind of at bay a little bit. It's not as intimate with a group. So when you're alone and you're thinking of those particular ancestors, like prior to setting my table and doing everything, it was all about those ancestors that I could actually remember and wanted to honor. Um, Talking to them, just remembering them, just talking to the energy, remembering them, remembering who they were. And then as I did everything, went about doing what I was doing, um, and setting my table, once I decided to start, then the conversation continued on, but it was a more intense uh, level of communication. And I know that, you know, they like to see their old things. They like to see their the altar set up for them, and they like to see what you've done to honor them. They enjoy it. And doing it in a solitary setting, for me anyway, was just as powerful, if not more so, than doing it with a group.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, one of these days, when we're all rich, we'll have to get together for a Samhain dumb supper. You know, that way I can actually say, hey, I did it in a group. Was that Toodles just run by? Hey, Toodles. There he is.
Oh, he had to get his phone. So cute.
So there's a lot of things about Samhain and Halloween. Well, Halloween was actually, you know, secondary to Samhain. There was parts and pieces of Samhain that was incorporated into the now celebrated Halloween, which is basically a made-up holiday from the Christian church in the
Well,
beginning.
actually, Halloween is the 31st, and Samhain is the 1st of November. So they're two separate days. The reason that they got conglomerated into one thing is that because the Celts followed a lunar calendar, their festival started at sunset, or sunset. So on sunset of the 31st is when Samhain would start, which is why people think that it was on the 31st.
But it's actually the 1st because it runs over into, right.
Right, Samhain actually means summer's end, but it also means November. It just depends on which tradition of speech you're following.
And there's a lot of people that are, you know, maybe coming new to the craft, or maybe have been there for a while, that doesn't know that it's not the 31st, but actually it's the 1st. I'm seeing a lot of memes on Facebook where it's like, Samhain, October 31st. Well, that's inaccurate.
Yeah.
Technically, it starts maybe on the 31st as we know it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely and a lot of people put it all together, and you know, each individual celebration is very different, and you know, really doesn't have a lot to do with each other. You know, I mean, we're all marking the same time of year, but in different ways and for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's just like Day of the Dead. You know, you don't that's not Mexican Halloween. You know, and a lot of people just want to, you know, it's like, no.
Well, that was something else interesting that Spin had come up with in hers. And I lost my train of thought. What was it, Spin? Help me out here. It just went out. It was there and it left me. Okay. Oh, no. 1960s is when something about, was it the north and the south of Mexico where they
started
is
celebrating? Yeah, she's here. I think. Spin, are you there?
Yeah. What?
Okay.
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about?
Was that my video?
That part in your video about where you're talking about, and it was in the 1960s, and it really wasn't that long ago. I thought it was there always, you know, where Mexico was trying to, please tell that again.
That wasn't my video. I think that was Toy's video.
No, it was yours.
No, I talked about how the Scottish and Irish communities brought souling and guising back to the old ways, traditions back here, but I didn't talk about that.
That's right, that was Toys. Okay, I thought for sure it was yours. You're right, it was Toys. But it's like, you know, something that you think has always been there, or has always been, and then you find out it's been in your lifetime, and you're like, wow, that really happened during that time. I thought that was interesting. So I guess it was in the 1960s when the different portions of Mexico had actually united in their beliefs on the date of when to celebrate that, the Day of the Dead. That was cool.
Yeah.
I just always assumed that all of Mexico just did it the same way all the time. And that was pretty interesting.
My daughter was born on Day of the Dead. I went into the hospital on Halloween and had her on the 2nd.
Scorpio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there was so much. It was very fun to research all this stuff, and reading all these different stories. And of course, I mean, since I was doing the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern, why we carve pumpkins, I took it a step further and started talking a little bit more about the different things that happens during Halloween and Samhain or whatever. People have I mean, for years, um, kids will go toilet paper houses or the paper bag with the dog poop on fire and all that kind of eggs,
Well,
egging houses.
actually, back in the pranking days, it was more about vandalism, pranking, being
Yeah,
egging, toilet papering, destroying actual property.
yeah,
And it was said that because of all of these things that were going on, that the first community-wide trick-or-treats started to sort of curtail the damages, because the damages were becoming extensive.
right. Well,
So
they still do the pumpkin smashing to this day.
I was really surprised because I had somebody from Pennsylvania actually tell me that they do on the 30th of October that they do like Devil's Night or a Demon Night where they go out and it's just a night of mischief basically when people go around
Mischief.
and do all the things,
It's coming back then.
and
I like the way
I
that
was
some people
shocked.
took it to, like the pumpkin smashing. I mean, every Halloween, I know you probably looked on highways and roads and neighborhoods, and there's smashed pumpkins everywhere, up against trees, road signs. But now, I mean, there's some people that are actually making a sport out of it. Did you see at the end of the video, this guy had a cannon he made with
I've done pumpkin chunking before.
yeah, that's what it's called. And of course, they've got the catapults, and then they're using these what you call it that take branches and make them into mulch chippers or something. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff with pumpkins now and making it a sport.
Yeah,
How far can you? Yeah.
yeah, we usually like the first week of November because a lot of the grocery stores and stuff here they'll have their old pumpkins and they just give them away or sell them really dirt cheap. We go get a bunch and let the kids beat the crap out of them in the backyard. It's fun. So and
Well,
we take
not only
our
that, but
we take our
pumpkins, when you
jack-o'-lanterns to do
smash
it
them or
too.
whatever, I know some people get upset by it, but there's a lot of animals that love to eat the pumpkins.
Yeah,
And so, it's biodegradable, I can't talk,
biodegradable.
biodegradable, thank you. I'm not drinking, I swear.
And we always take the seeds out and bake them and stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like we're
Mhm.
totally wasting them. And then the ones that we usually get after the season are just about done anyway. And it just, when I lived in my house, we would just mulch it up for the backyard and it would be mulch and then like the birds and stuff would be out there eating off of it and whatever.
And
And,
squirrels will get drunk on it if it's fermented.
right.
Yeah, I saw that video. That's cute. That was funny. He was wasted.
Yeah. But yeah, I was really surprised though because I did not know that they still did like they had like a mischief night that happened like that on the 30th. But I guess apparently it's more of a back east thing because we don't do that here. Like we have Nevada Day, which is usually it's usually right there around the same time. So there's actually a state holiday, so all the kids get out of school. The weekend of Halloween anyway. I'm not sure if they're taking Friday or Monday this year, but it's on a Saturday, so who cares? But usually the kids get the following, weekday off from school, or the day before, and everything's usually scheduled around that, so it's kind of cool.
Well, just like Spin said, that the kids don't seem to trick or treat very much anymore. And the few that do, I mean, there's some that will get dressed up in costumes and have fun, and there's some kids that just go out, I've noticed, that really don't put any thought into it. And that's kind of sad that, that Halloween is becoming, less and less of, yeah.
We
Well, what I've noticed is that. Go ahead.
well we did I don't know. here I don't live in a neighborhood where I feel safe taking my kids out trick or treating. There's just no way in hell. It's not happening. And I'm not one of those people that will go and drive to the nice neighborhood and take my kids trick or treating at strangers' houses either. We live in an era where people are so isolated from each other that they barely even know their next door neighbors anymore, you know. So
That's
it's not,
it.
you know, I mean, it used to be like when I used to live in a small town, I lived down in Needles, I knew everybody. So we were going door to door, and it was more out of a, hey, let's go show off our costumes to our friends, you know. It was different. Everybody went out. It was a community thing, but you know, in the larger cities, if you don't get that community feel to it anymore. Um, but here they do. Uh, we went to Springs Preserve. They do their haunted harvest. Took the kids to that, and they have trick or treat stations, and they have like little carnival games and stuff set up, and they've got it all decorated and everything. And it was fun because you get to see everybody else's costumes and everything, and it's in a safe environment. You're not getting run over by cars. You're not you're not dealing with all the crap that you deal with going out traditional trick or treating. But I miss that. I miss, living in a neighborhood where I felt like it was okay. I mean, we used to put our luminaries along the street. We would get the little orange paper bags with the pumpkin shaped, the jack-o'-lantern shaped faces cut out of them, and fill them up with sand or cat litter and drop the votive candles on them, have them going along the street. Everybody would decorate their at least their front porch, and just do little things like the people down the street from me had a little haunted house for the kids where they'd go in and put their hands in the bowls of spaghetti, Jello, and yeah. And it used to be for kids, and it was like really for kids, and it was geared toward children. And then I've watched this shift. It's like the generation that really got into it has grown up, and they still want to hold on to that nostalgia, but they want to celebrate it in adult ways, and the kids just really, they don't get as much of that anymore. And I mean, in my experience, like with where I live, I mean, we just don't. There's nothing really. I mean, even like the haunted harvest thing, it was really fun, but it's geared toward really small children. I mean, it's more for kids younger than my kids, and I mean, we still had fun. Don't get me wrong, because Springs Preserve, like, it's just fun to do anyway. But it's more targeted towards the younger children, and then everything else is for adults. There's really not anything for the middle ground. I mean, like for Bo, there's he just he's kind of SOL in his age group because they just kind of skip over him. It's like Elijah, he's 15. It's the same thing. A lot of the haunted houses and stuff out here now are trying so hard to go for that extra scare that a lot of them are 18 and over now.
Well, yeah,
and I'm like,
there's a lot of different things that were going on with trick-or-treating. There were communities banning trick-or-treating. There were age limits either way. Either you were too old to trick-or-treat or you were too young to go in to certain places. So when that happens, parents get discouraged. So rather than, have their kids go through that where their older siblings could do something they couldn't, or their younger siblings could do something they couldn't, they started taking them to malls and churches and things like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, like here, and then for Halloween night, we'll probably just, get pizza or whatever and stay home. And then if we do have any trick-or-treaters from the neighbor kids, we'll pass out candy or whatever. But, I mean, I usually do a pretty big Halloween party at home anyway because of the kids and because we have a lot of extended family. It's just like any other holiday, like Thanksgiving or Christmas for us. So we usually have, a big pile of people. And it's so funny because it's like every holiday, we celebrate the pagan holidays because of me, and then we celebrate the non-secular or the Christian holidays with, their other families. So it's like every holiday.
Every day's a holiday.
Yeah. Like Halloween, I mean, we'll celebrate all the way through, through the second, and then my daughter's birthday's on the second, so. And that's every season. Just like Easter and Ostara, we have a blast. That's like just all spring is a celebration. We kind of live on deviled eggs. But
Well, that's the best way to have them.
yeah, color them and then devil them.
Especially, yeah.
That was fun for me
Especially
too, coloring eggs for my little solitary Ostara,
Yeah.
and yeah, I maybe only did a dozen by myself. It's nice when the grandchildren are close, though.
Yeah, it's funny watching my kids grow out of this stuff, and I never have. I still do.
I have a friend whose mother made him and his sister Easter baskets every year, and until he was 50, and his sister was 56.
Yep, I'm one of those.
Every
parents.
year he'd get his Easter basket and the chocolate egg and some Easter eggs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I-
Continually tried to convince him there was still a Santa Claus too.
well, I'm realistic with my kids. I'm not. I don't ruin it for them. But
I
I
buy
don't.
the crap, damn it. Some strangers can come into the house and buy you all this stuff. No, I do it.
If you see some strange man with a beard come climbing out of our chimney, you better get the gun. No.
You see some strange man with a beard climbing down my chimney, I'm ready. I'm gonna mug him. I am going to mug him. And I'll sit outside with the shotgun waiting for the deer because that's freezing full.
Right?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, bring me meat. Oh, damn. Yeah, okay, for all you people out there that think killing deer is bad, no, it's not. They're very tasty.
Delicious. Yeah.
Delicious,
Please send all
absolutely.
your angry mail to Blue Whisper, care of
That's
Blue
right.
Whisper.
No, actually, because I can argue it because I know both ends of the spectrum, and if it wasn't for some of the sportsmen hunting the deer and filling up their freezers, then the population of deer would get out of hand and disease would spread amongst them. And it's the quickest way of wiping out a complete species is to allow them to overbreed and overpopulate. There would be less food. There's
So
less.
should we hunt
Yeah.
people?
I used to be
Yes,
a bleeding heart for
absolutely.
deer until I hit one with a car, and
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere. And once you've had that experience, you're like, I'd much rather have one on my dinner plate than my grill. Or
Oh,
should I
they're
say,
very
smashed through my window and the hood destroyed. And yeah, that was I don't know how I didn't die. That was
Well,
scary.
this is
So
what
yes.
a lot of people tell me. Well, I don't like the deer meat. It tastes gamey. Well, it's probably because you had to, because people think they got to hang the deer up and bleed it through the neck for a week. And the weather gets warm. No, dear, it's not gamey. You're eating rotten meat. You shoot it, you gut it out, you take it home, you skin it out, and take it to the butcher.
I have
It
no.
goes right into refrigeration.
And I would.
This has been Deer Killing 101 on
That's
Planet
right.
Well, and what a lot of people don't understand is I would rather eat something that I hunted myself than to go to the grocery store and buy prepackaged meat, because I know at least if I'm out hunting, wildlife that's out, that it had a good life, it's out in the wild and living the way it's intended to, and and I'm sorry, it tastes better. It tastes better.
It does. Well, first off, you're not getting all the hormones. The feed that the cattle, how they treat the cattle, because they're not animals to them. They're just, they don't treat them very well. I'm sure a lot of people who are, against eating meat probably seen the videos. No, I'll never eat again. Poor Bambi. No.
If you don't think there's a difference, look at all these, and for people that still say that hunting is bad and whatever, that still eat meat, it's like, go buy yourself some free-range eggs. They're delicious.
They are.
These animals aren't
They're
taking
small
And
as
then-
heck.
And then what did our ancestors do? I've had people tell me, "Oh, you're a witch. You're supposed to be a vegan now."
No.
But we got to do things like the ancestors did. And I'm like, oh, you want to do everything like our ancestors did? Yes. Then why are you on YouTube?
Get rid of your computer. Get rid of your electricity.
Exactly.
Get rid of
I mean, witches do.
Get rid of that
we-
like iPhone that you're tumbling and tweeting from.
Yeah, get
Right,
rid of
being
that
a witch
$1,000
doesn't
iPhone.
Yeah, being a witch doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and do everything.
Oh,
It's
by the
nice
way, are
when you
those
get a
leather
chance.
boots you're wearing and a leather skirt?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But you
Yeah.
don't have to do
I have that
everything.
like that.
And don't eat anything that's got Jello or gelatin in it, because that is an animal byproduct. I love
That's
when
right.
people want to talk. It's just like with I actually had a vegan classmate in a film class that I was in, photography class, and I'm like, you realize that traditional wet darkroom film is made out of animal product. It's made out of gelatin.
Well, including yogurt. Yogurt has animal byproducts. You have to look for the little K. That means kosher. If you don't want that, and a lot of people don't know that. I mean, well, now it brings me back because I had just watched that video from JP, what's his face, JP, or whatever, and he's like, how to be, or learn how to be a vegetarian, or vegetarianisms or something, and he was going around going, but you're killing these plants, these poor things. It's like a shark eating a swimming pool full of kids learning to swim. I mean, these poor plants are helpless. They can't do anything. And I was laughing.
Well, they're alive the same as animals. Just because they happen to be stationary doesn't mean that they aren't living, things. That doesn't take away from the fact that they are living organisms.
Yeah, and then humans, we become food too.
So have you guys found any interesting Samhain recipes or anything interesting?
Yes.
Yes. Take it. Well, you see, the death of the plants and animals is all part of Samhain because we're celebrating. Yeah. It's all about death and rebirth. Okay, but yeah, I found a really cool one I'm going to actually attempt.
That's what I want, because I haven't gone shopping. Like you were saying about pumpkins, it's too hot here. I don't have a place to store them yet, and I'm sure as a heck not gonna. I mean, I don't even want to get one to carve because it won't, keep, and I don't have enough room to refrigerate. If I put them in the house, they're gonna be rotten before Halloween even gets here. So I went in and I'm dying for stuffed pumpkin. So I made the filling and had some last night instead. And it's really easy. It's just ground beef, rice, and cream of mushroom soup, and you just mix it in with a little bit of milk, and you brown the meat, make the rice, cook the rice. I use stone rice cooker, whatever, and then put all that together in a baking pumpkin. Just a hollowed out baking pumpkin you've taken the seeds out of. And then when you serve it, you just scoop sides of the pumpkin, bake it, and scoop sides of the pumpkin out with it. Oh my god, it's so good. So I had it without the pumpkin last night. I was just eating the filling. I want it so bad. I could live on just that. It's one of my favorite dishes during the fall because I love baked pumpkin.
Oh, I do too. And green pumpkin. Let me tell you. I read The Little House on the Prairie book one time, and she was talking about at the last harvest there was a couple of green pumpkins still out there, and so her mother decided to take the green pumpkin, and she skinned it and took the guts out, of course, and then used the meat part of these pumpkins, and they were just regular carving pumpkins. Yeah. And put them in a pie shell and just baked it like an apple pie and called it a mock apple pie. Yeah. And everybody thought it was an apple pie, and it was actually green pumpkin. So one year I found a green pumpkin, and I tried that recipe. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So if anybody still has any green pumpkins left, consider baking a pie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love food.
Anybody here doesn't love food, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Excuse me, it's unanimous. We like our food.
Yep. I can think of a million different ways to cook pumpkin. It was so funny. We were watching somebody the other day, and they were making a vegan soup, and Scott goes, yeah. He goes, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian by any means or any of that. He goes, but that looks really good. And that's my thing is, even though I eat meat, I enjoy my vegetables. I enjoy my meat alternatives too. In certain things, they just, if it's a good recipe, it doesn't matter. And for a while, I used to do like the meatless Mondays and stuff like that. And
yeah, I do that, but sometimes my Mondays are a Wednesday or whatever. And the only reason I even started that was to incorporate more vegetables and fruits into my diet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love spaghetti squash. And
that stuff's good, yeah.
Because I have a really hard time with pasta. When I eat pasta, it tears me up. And I love pasta. It's one of my favorite foods. I love it, but it does not love me.
Is it the fresh pasta too? Like the fresh pasta does it too?
Yeah, I used to make my own. and I every bit
Oh,
of pasta it's since I got my gallbladder taken out, I've had a problem. Everything triggers the IBS, and I'm miserable. So if I eat any kind of alternatives I can find, and I don't like whole wheat pasta. I'm not a fan. And everybody says, but
yeah.
it's so much better for you. It tastes so good. To me, it's like eating boiled cardboard. And I know a lot of
Mhm.
people enjoy it. I'm just not one of those people. I can't even pretend like I can like that. Um, so spaghetti squash, perfect. Perfect alternative. I am totally happy with that. It's absolutely wonderful, and I love it. And I used to buy it all the time, and I haven't been since I've been living here. I haven't been buying as many fruits and vegetables as I normally eat, and my body is letting me know that I am wrong for not eating the way I should.
Is there anything that you can't have Halloween or Samhain without? Like any food or any dish or any drink or anything?
We always have to have, of course, our pumpkin. Pumpkin, 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 like everything.
Glass of wine.
Um, and let's see, what do we usually? There's we do a lot for the holidays, so it's like
I did a menu. It was more of a Halloween menu a few years ago for my grandson and my daughter. It was more of a Halloween menu. I made several things. Like it was barbecued ribs, but I called them bleeding ribs of the dead. And then bat wings, which was just basically barbecued wings. And in the barbecue sauce, I used some black food coloring paste.
yeah.
And so
Oh,
they were
nice.
black like bat wings. And then of course I made some vegetables look like eyeballs and fingers and all kinds of different crap like that. I can't remember everything I made, but it was a huge feast.
I think I showed you guys before the pictures of what I usually do. Like I do the witch's fingers, and they're like shortbread cookies with the almond fingernails,
Oh, those are
and
cool.
and like a cat box cake. You get to make all the
Yeah.
crap that you just normally wouldn't cook, because who's gonna eat that? I used to have the brain jello mold, and I always take a big. I either take the punch bowl or a big. I have like a big plastic cauldron that's got a liner in it, and we'll put punch in it and have like the gloves frozen. With I usually
Yeah.
make like I'll put like fruit juice or something, freeze it. So that it's got a hand floating in it. But yeah, I mean, I can't have Halloween without that kind of stuff, or Samhain. I have to have,
Yeah.
all those
Something
all those things.
spooky.
Yeah,
And,
stuff that I wouldn't eat any other time. Yeah.
well, I don't see any
Mhm.
reason why you can't use something fun and Halloweeny for your Samhain meal.
Hmm.
I mean, our ancestors
Yeah.
probably enjoyed a good party too.
Yeah.
You
Deviled
know,
Well, for
eggs. We do deviled eggs like every
apples,
holiday. Baked.
apples is a big one
I have
that
apples.
that we forget. That's a Samhain
Yeah, I like to make the whistling apples.
whistling apples.
You core them and put your brown sugar and cinnamon down the middle of them with butter, and then wrap them in foil and well, I usually do them on the grill, but
My
you can do
mother
them on the
used to
grill or in
make
the oven.
those. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes she'd put a cherry, or a couple
Mhm.
of cherries in the middle too. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's really good.
So good. Yeah. And pumpkin bread and
Mhm.
banana nut bread. I make a lot of stuff like that. A lot of the loaves and stuff like that during this time of year.
What
So.
about you, Spin? What is your favorite, and what can you not live without?
Um, for Samhain, I just like apples. A lot of apple ciders, apple
Mhm.
pies or pumpkin pie. Anything with pumpkins, because pumpkin seeds especially. I
Mhm.
love roasted pumpkin seeds, and that's one of my favorite things to make. Um, and then also I like popcorn balls.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
those are like the best treat for Samhain or Halloween. Popcorn balls, I love them.
Yep.
'Cause they're so gooey and they're just good. They're just really good.
One of the favorites
Um,
around here, in these parts, particularly around Halloween, and they'll have the hay rides and things like that. But they always have like a hay ride, a corn maze, and then after the festivities, they'll have cider and donuts. And donuts is a big one with the hot
Mhm.
mulled cider, which
Yeah.
is really good. And I thought that would make a nice little after Samhain meal something, later on in the evening while watching movies or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to make the mulled apple cider in the crock pot because everything goes in the crock pot.
I use my tea kettle for my cider.
Yeah, I use a crock pot and I put cinnamon and cloves and orange slices and
A little bit of honey. Yeah.
so good, so good, so good. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we were talking about doing some sort of a dumb supper or something like that
Mhm.
live.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be live. I don't know if we discussed it's going to be live or not. I don't know. I guess it's going to be live.
Well, maybe we could
Really?
invite some other pathlings to join us if they'd like.
Yeah. We can do that because I mean I'll have the majority of the day. Yeah. Because I mean the kids we end up doing most of ours. Most of our celebrating. Like I said, we've already been out trick or treating and.
When exactly is Halloween? You see.
It's a Saturday.
That's why I was
It's
thinking about doing it on Samhain on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because everybody will be home and
Yeah, because Saturday
no
I'll
one's
be.
got.
Okay.
Oh, well, I was gonna say everybody's doing their festivities with trick or treating and everything on Saturday, and then Sunday, I figure everything's calmed down. It'd be a better time for everybody to get together.
Well, you know what? On next Friday for our wrap up, we should also maybe do cider and donuts. I just want my sugar. I'm not allowed to have it.
I just sat here and ate a whole piece of chocolate cake.
And I know me too. I know we'll be there and everybody will say, "Where's your donuts?" And I'll think, "Oh, I couldn't take it. I had to eat them."
They didn't make it.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. But yeah, the dumb dinner on a Sunday, that would work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that would work for me too. Like I said, I have
Sunday after next, or no, Sunday after this coming Sunday. So
yeah, a week from
Yeah.
Yeah.
So November 1st, basically.
Yeah.
oh,
I might
and
even,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I might even be able to manage some wine. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I might be able to manage some cider, but I doubt I have donuts. Because if I do get hold of donuts, I'll probably eat them that day.
Well, you can make donuts. I mean, all you have to do is get some flour and a few other things.
Well, yeah, I
Throw 'em
can
in
make
some
donuts,
oil.
but like, will they actually wait for me to get online? No, they sit there and say, "Eat me," and I'm obliging. Yeah, I like donuts.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Well,
and you never said anything. Did you want to do what I said that we could do if the pathlings, for the pathlings something to do?
well, that's a Blue Whispers challenge there, so that's all you, buddy.
Okay. Shall I? Okay, people, we're going to have a little giveaway, possibly. If we get 10 or more people to upload a picture of their jack-o'-lantern that they carved this year onto the Planet Pathlings group, upload it there, ask to join us or whatever. You can enter as many pumpkins as you want, but we have to have at least 10 different people to enter. Friday we will announce who wins, so if you have your entries in by next Friday by 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or Spins time, which is what?
4 p.m.
An hour before our chat.
Yeah. 4%.
Yeah, an hour before chat next week. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
An hour before chat next week, we'll decide who's the winner, and I am going to pick out 3 of my hand-dipped candles. One of them will be an herb-rolled candle. Another one will be a bleeding candle. Not sure which color bleeding candle, probably white or yellow because that's what I have made now.
Mm-hmm.
And another candle of my choice. So you receive 3 candles if you're in the United States. I'm sorry, I wish I could send candles further, but the amount of time it would take to get somewhere outside of the United States might be a very long time, and candles can break or melt. So I'm willing to ship within the United States, and I apologize for that. If you're not in the United States,
We'll try to
give
do
you
a
an
contest for you later.
yeah,
We'll try to
and
do
we'll
most
give you an
contests.
honorable mention. But the winner will receive the candles, and not only that, but postage. That's the other thing. Postage, money's tight for me right now, so I'm going to be realistic. I can probably afford to do something within the States. So 3 candles, and we must have at least 10 people to enter, and not 10 entries, but 10 people, 10 different people entering, because you can enter as many pictures of different pumpkins as you want, as long as they're different pumpkins,
Yeah, but only one will be chosen.
That's right, only one winner. So, if you haven't joined us already, join us.
Yeah, the group is
Join us.
But they must also watch next week's live chat in order to know they win, because that's when we'll announce it. We'll announce who and how and when to get in touch with me to claim your prize. And if you don't watch, you might not get your chance to win, because I won't know. But anyway,
So
or at least watch the video.
Yeah, so our deadline is Friday the 30th by 4 p.m. Pacific. And it'll air, the winner will be announced Friday the 30th of October at 5 p.m. Pacific. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
on the chat.
Right. Well, actually, the winner will be chosen an hour before the chat.
But it'll be announced.
Well, it'll be announced on
Right. It'll be announced on the chat, and I guess we can do a screen sharing to show all the entries at the same time, too. So if you enter, we will showcase your entry as well on next week's chat.
Yep.
Yes.
So be sure to enter. Carve your pumpkins.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm the only one that can't win, so Spin, you can enter. And Reagan,
Well,
you
I
can
don't think
enter.
it should be open to us. Do you think it should be open to us? Because we might be some awesome pumpkin carvers. And then what? No, I think it should be open just to you pathlings. Get out there and carve some pumpkins.
If that's the way you... Okay, that's fine. To the pathlings, all you pathlings.
Yeah.
So get your knives out. Be careful. Please be safe while carving. If you carve a turnip, you can enter that. You can anything you carve, you can enter.
Yeah, don't
anything you are brave enough to carve.
Anything you want to make a jack-o'-lantern out of, as long as it cannot be a store-bought plastic thing.
Can't be alive.
Be a dead plant.
Potatoes, turnips, or pumpkins, please.
Yeah, potatoes, turnips, rutabagas, any kind of gourd, yeah.
Anything either from past traditions or present.
Right.
I'll make sure
on that note.
Yeah, we'll also make sure to update the description down below with all the information on that.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we're down to 2 minutes. We're almost done.
Yes.
Awkward silence.
Any parting
words? It's almost over. Anyone have anything to say? I mean, seriously, these topics are fun. I liked learning more and more about things that I didn't know. I had no clue that trick-or-treat, the traditions of trick-or-treating were so vast, and even extended into Guy Fawkes Day. So I had fun learning my topic. What about you guys?
Mm-hmm.
I had a blast. I had
fun sharing a lot of stuff with the kids because, of course, we all know the basics of these holidays, but to actually get in there and dig into the true hows and whys was actually really fascinating and really fun. And I had my minions at work looking stuff up too. So
it's like, find mommy while we wear masks. You go find where. You go find when. And you go find why. Go.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity to since you homeschool, to give them an assignment, and you're all working together.
Do mommy's homework.
Yep. Passing my work off to other people. I outsourced a little, just a little. Yeah.
Oh, real quick about the prize candles, I had just uploaded on my personal channel a video on how I make these So if you're wondering what a bleeding candle is or whatever, you can check out that video too. So I thought I'd better put that up there so they can see how these are hand-dipped candles. I make them. They are not store-bought.
Very cool. All right, so it's 6 o'clock. Are we good?
We're good.
All right.
Merry part.
See you next week. Bye.